War between the U.S. and dozens of countries escalated yet again today. Canada and the European Union announced their own tariffs designed to inflict economic pain and pressure on America.
While the United States has been entangled in its own trade disputes, Canada has been making strategic moves in Europe. This is not just about diplomacy, but about business. While Washington remains focused on tariffs, Canada has seized an opportunity and acted decisively. If Canada succeeds in shifting NATO allies' supply chains, it will not only boost Canadian businesses, but also reshape economic influence across the Atlantic, something the United States did not foresee. This shift could mean long-term consequences, not only for North America, but for the global economic order as well. Before we go further, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on more in-depth analysis of global trade and economic shifts. Stay informed as we break down every development in international markets. The question now is whether Canada is quietly positioning itself as a true trade alternative to the United States. While Canada has always been an ally to both Europe and the US, trade is about leverage, not just partnerships. Canada offers competitive prices, fewer trade restrictions, and a more stable trade relationship. With the US increasingly using tariffs as political tools,
tariffs are very powerful, both economically and in getting everything else you want.
European businesses are seriously considering Canada's offer. This could redefine how supply chains function, shifting billions in trade away from the United States toward a more strategically placed Canadian economy. A major factor in this strategy is the Comprehensive Economic and Trade Agreement CETA between Canada and the EU, in place since 2017.
Well, Canadians care about, of course, a growing economy. They care about jobs, and I think that the new agreement is going to help us do just that.
Canada is now doubling down on this agreement, strengthening its presence in European markets with new investment incentives and trade partnerships. Trade between Canada and the EU already stands at approximately $119 billion annually, and with this increased push, that number could grow significantly. If European businesses shift even a fraction of their supply chains from American firms to Canadian ones, the economic impact could be substantial. The broader implications of this shift could see Canada rising as a dominant player in global commerce, securing its place as a key supplier to major economies. If you're finding this breakdown insightful, hit the like button and let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think Canada's strategy will work, or will the US fight back? Share your opinions, and let's keep the discussion going. Why now? Timing is key. The United States has been escalating economic pressure, imposing tariffs on allies and competitors alike. Recently, Washington announced a 25% tariff on European automobile imports, putting added strain on an already fragile economic relationship.
Tariffs are taxes. They are bad for business and worse for consumers. They are disrupting supply chains. They bring uncertainty for the economy.
This has left European businesses uneasy, as they seek to avoid being caught in the crossfire of escalating trade conflicts. Canada has stepped in at precisely the right moment, presenting itself as the stable and predictable alternative in a world of uncertainty. By avoiding erratic trade policies, Canada has positioned itself as a preferred partner for European industries looking for consistent and reliable suppliers. Meanwhile, Canada is positioning itself as a reliable trade partner. Unlike the United States, Canada does not impose erratic tariffs or use trade as a political weapon. This stability makes Canada an attractive alternative. Another key factor is energy security. Europe is actively working to reduce its dependence on American energy exports, especially as global energy markets become increasingly unstable. Canada has stepped up as a major energy supplier, providing natural gas and oil to European buyers. In a world where energy stability is crucial, this is a major advantage. Beyond energy, Canada is also making a strong push in manufacturing, aerospace and technology industries, where European companies are actively seeking stable suppliers. If this push succeeds, it could mean significant growth for Canada's industrial sector. But this strategy extends beyond economics. It is also about political influence. If Canada strengthens its trade relationships with Europe, it gains more than just financial benefits, it also gains strategic leverage. For decades, the US has used its economic strength to shape global politics, particularly within NATO. If NATO nations begin shifting their trade priorities towards Canada, Washington's ability to dictate economic terms weakens. This could have far-reaching consequences in diplomatic relations, as Europe gradually moves toward a trade policy that is less dependent on American economic leadership. So what happens next? Right now, Canada is testing the waters, securing deals, and gauging how far European businesses are willing to go. If this strategy succeeds, it could lead to a major shift in transatlantic commerce. Canada could move from being seen as just a US trade partner to a dominant economic player in its own right. The United States is monitoring this closely. Should Canada gain too much ground, Washington will have to decide whether to counteract this shift by offering better incentives to keep European businesses tied to American supply chains, or attempt to pressure Canada into stepping back. The decision could alter the economic balance in North America and beyond. If you want to stay updated on how this trade battle unfolds, be sure to subscribe. We'll be covering every major development in global economics and trade policy. Your engagement helps us bring you the latest insights into world markets. Both choices come with risks. If the United States pushes too hard, it could inadvertently push European businesses even closer to Canada. If it does nothing, it risks losing economic influence over a key trade region. For now, this is just the beginning, but it is not a minor development. Canada is proactively expanding its trade relationships beyond the US, strengthening ties with Europe, Latin America, and Asia to ensure it is not overly dependent on any one market.
Focus we have right now is on reducing the impacts of the tariffs. I can confirm that we will continue to be in a trade war that was launched by the United States.
If these deals hold, Canada gains leverage in future negotiations with Washington. Conversely, if Washington retaliates with trade barriers, it could accelerate Canada's long-term shift into a more powerful global trade player. One thing is certain, this is not business as usual. Canada is making calculated moves to establish itself as a significant economic force. Whether Washington approves or not, this transformation is already underway. The key question remains, will Canada's strategy succeed, or will the United States find a way to reassert its dominance in European trade? This ongoing power struggle could determine the future landscape of global commerce. Canada is not just engaging in policy discussions, it is actively securing economic gains. This move is about more than simple trade agreements. It is about ensuring Canada has a permanent seat at the global trade table. The message to Europe is clear. Canada is not just an alternative to the United States, it is a competitive supplier. This shift is already happening, and the momentum continues to build. CETA has driven a significant increase in trade between Canada and the EU, demonstrating that the agreement is not just symbolic, it is reshaping business relationships. This is about more than trade numbers, it is about restructuring supply chains, expanding economic influence, and ensuring Canada has a stronger role in global markets. The economic ramifications of this move will extend beyond Canada and Europe, influencing how international trade operates for years to come. Currently, the US dominates transatlantic trade, having served as NATO allies' primary economic partner for decades. However, Canada is actively challenging that status. If European businesses redirect even a fraction of their supply chains away from the US and toward Canadian suppliers, billions of dollars could shift into Canada's economy.
Canadians should continue to buy Canadian, continue to stand up for each other, but we are trying to reduce the areas and the impact that these tariffs that the Americans are bringing in will have on Canadian workers.
Reshaping its financial and industrial landscape in profound ways. This transition is already underway. European companies are actively exploring ways to diversify, and Canada is providing them with a viable option. The United States now faces a critical decision. If Washington views Canada's expansion as a threat, it may attempt to block it through trade barriers, economic measures, or diplomatic pressure. On the other hand, ignoring Canada's growing trade influence could allow Canada to solidify its standing, making future negotiations with Washington more difficult. Trade is not just about economic transactions, it is about power, alliances, and global influence. Canada's latest initiative is about more than increasing exports, it is about shifting the balance of economic power. If this strategy holds, it could signal a transformation in transatlantic commerce, with Canada playing a much larger role. The US will not let this happen without a response. The only question is, what will Washington's next move be? Stay tuned for the next update, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more insights.